will everyone else make sense of it? That was the issue.
The process of making a film is really difficult.
Knowing that I can do it and believing that I can is a big thing to get over.
It's all consuming, but we love it and we're addicted and we need more.
Just work around all those getting challenges.
They'll just imagine that it's there.
That we had to think of a new game plan.
All right, today I'm sitting down with filmmaker Joshua Webb to talk about his short film, Lily. We'll be breaking down everything from the inspiration behind the story to the challenges of bringing it to life, and the lessons learned along the way. We'll also cover some of the unique production challenges, including working with fake blood and executing intense scenes on a budget. The film has already seen success, winning the Audience Choice Award at the Left of Centre screening at the WA Made Film Festival. With that out of the way, let's get into it. The first question that I always like to start off with is, what got you into filmmaking, and what were the actual first steps you took in doing so?
Oh, that's a great question. So I probably started around when I was like 10 years old, just on like little iPad mini.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was like going around with that, shooting on that, and then editing on that as well. So I'd like round up all my cousins and we'd just have fun on the weekends and just make stuff. But yeah, that was probably when I was about 10 years old, and I would just like found that way of storytelling and just like expressing my ideas through that sort of medium. So that's where I sort of fell in love with it. It's amazing. It's great at that time, actually.
That's fantastic. Do you have all of those random little films and videos stored somewhere?
Yeah, so I've done what I did last year was found them all in the backups and uploaded them onto YouTube as like a private
yeah,
they're somewhere. But it's so embarrassing. It's like you make them and it's just, oh my goodness, that's incredible. Then you look back and it's like the worst thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like every now and then I'll stumble across something that I made back when I was starting, and like some of them you'd kind of be like concerned for my sanity or something, you know? They're just a bit like unhinged or something, you know?
Like, whoa, is he okay?
Yeah, exactly. Can you talk to us about the film Lily? Can you give us a bit of a summary of the story for those who haven't seen it? And maybe talk to us a bit about, you know, maybe the themes or the messages that might be underneath.
The film is sort of centered around this world where people's dreams are curated, and so Lily finds herself within her own dream. She's in this isolated town, coastal town in WA. She sort of dreams these absurd visions of all her loved ones, and in attempts to manipulate her, she sort of figures out that she can gain control of her unconscious mind, and in doing so sort of makes a decision. We get to the end of the film and it's like the repercussions aren't quite there, but you sort of can gather where it's going to go from there. It was interesting writing it because there's so many deep themes involved, and like just ideas of trust and being able to trust others and trusting yourself. My thing as I was producing it and we were making it, if you can't trust anyone else, can you still even trust yourself? And that's kind of what we leave it on in the last scene there. But yeah, also like themes of manipulation and control. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, and I think that's how it is. Like, you know, when watching the movie, you just all you've got is just questions the whole time. Like, is this real? Is it a dream? It's
crazy to like be watching it and go, I'm confused, but I know that I have to be confused.
Being confused is the point. You know?
I'm going to be honest. It's about manipulation, and it is about the psychological trickery that goes on inside our own heads.
Okay.
Yes, it is dreams. I think the fact that it is a dream says more about it than anything else, because it's about how dreams are manifested through our life experiences. Yes, it's about consciousness, how our life experiences form into our unconscious, and exploring that through not only the imagery but also the performances.
I hate to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can we go for a walk?
Yeah, it must have been quite an interesting process writing a film like that. Writing something it's not so much a linear story, it's a bit unhinged and disjointed in places. What would be the process?
Yeah, it was an interesting process. It started off, I did it for a unit at uni, and it was we had to use like a philosophical attachment. So I was looking at, I think it was Sigmund Freud and his sort of ideas of the self. I was doing that at the time. It's just sort of ingrained itself into the script. And then, so I wrote that for the assessment and then picked it up again a year later. And I was like, okay, we want to make this a reality, but how can we, it was huge. Like the scale of it was so much bigger. So we had to sort of scale it back. And then rewriting it, I was having to tell myself, I get it. It makes sense. But will everyone else make sense of it? That was the issue. Because I had to just, stop, pause and go, let's just really like, bare minimum, what is the message? What are you trying to say? And it was a cool process. I think it started as something bigger and you have to sort of bring it down, but still keep the themes that you want to tell and keep the crux of the story. So a lot changed when we were rewriting. Yeah, a lot was taken out, but I think it's all for the better and it made for a more cohesive story. And for the time frame, I think it worked well for the time frame. If it was bigger, like the scale would have been, it's like, I don't think it would have landed as much as it did. So yeah, I think it was, everything's sort of what it's meant to be again.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting point because, as we were saying, the film is quite, disjointed and, confusing and stuff like that. And I guess it's like, how long is okay to leave your audience in that confused state, Like at some point, it might just get stressful, if they're just confused for like a full feature film or something,
Yeah, and then you might lose their attention, their engagement, and then there's no way of getting that back. So this sort of careful balance of like maintaining this idea of like viewer interest and sort of like wanting to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But also that like we still want you to be confused. Like
yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it's and then there's that other point that you mentioned where there was like the way that you saw the story, but then how the audience would take it, and that's also kind of an interesting thing that I guess filmmakers would have to think about because like you yourself you understand like every little bit of the story and why it's in there, but yeah, how much of that would the audience actually pick up, or would they just have a totally different experience altogether?
Yeah.
Who knows?
And because as everyone keeps saying, art is subjective, so everyone has their own reading of it and their own understanding, and whether they take away like all of it or just one of the things, it's as long as they're taking something from it, it's on our job.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. What was the most challenging part of making this film?
Ooh, it was challenging.
What kept you up at night? What gave you nightmares,
Oh wow, yeah, there was a lot of the process gave me nightmares. It was actually kind of crazy when we filming would have been the most challenging. Like getting it shot, getting it on camera was probably getting it to that point was like the main hurdle. Once we got over that, it was like, okay, we can breathe. But I remember coming home after filming and I was like trying to go to sleep, but I just couldn't. So I was thinking about what we shot and how it linked to how the story came about, which I'll get into later. And I was thinking about all that, and everything just sort of came up. And I was explaining what we filmed to my family, and like they knew how the story came about. And it was just so full circle that I couldn't sleep the night we got home. So that was after the discussal part. When we were filming, I was just so in my own head of like, what are we doing? Like, is this going to work? It's too much, and just second guessing myself. Like working on that self-confidence was really big. So that was by far the most challenging. It's just getting to it and like trusting my instincts. So like knowing that I can do it and believing that I can was a big thing to get over. So it was very rewarding once for me ended.
And I feel like that must be the main reason why we all make these films, because like the process of making a film is really difficult. It's hard. It's not an easy thing to do. Like if someone isn't like, I don't know, doesn't have like the willpower for it, then it would be very difficult to attempt. And it must, just that feeling once the film is actually finished, and then it gives us confidence that we were able to survive all of that stuff that we put ourselves through, and now we're just ready to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, are we the crazy ones that just want to do it again, put ourselves through it?
Filmmakers are just absolutely insane. If you find yourself in a room filled with filmmakers, you should be worried. and like you were saying before, it's like after you finished filming, you were up all night just like thinking about the film, And that's just another reason why filmmakers are crazy. It's like we might be sitting at the table eating breakfast, and like in our head we're like editing the film together and thinking about the settings and the pacing and whatever else there might be.
It just takes up every thought, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that's it. It's all consuming, but we love it and we're addicted and we need more.
And I remember getting back from filming, and I couldn't really sleep until I saw what it was going to look like. It's just that fear of, did we do enough, or like, did we do it right? You know.
How are you feeling?
This is like fun, actually. I don't know. Yeah. Actually, it's like quite fun. Josh, wanna have a look?
I would love
Reaction
to.
time. Reaction time.
Holy shit! That is horrific, and I love it.
Do anything
You
else?
did this. This is your fault.
Should I add more of
It is my
anything
fault,
anywhere
and
else?
I'm truly sorry. Truly. I think it's the perfect amount.
One that I was very curious about when watching it is there's a lot of fake blood in the film. What were the challenges in using fake blood, and did you have to did you go through many recipes to find some good blood? Did you need to be careful not to get it on everything? Because I noticed that like some of the characters were wearing like white shirts and everything, and I feel like that must have been difficult. That's what was going through my mind.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. No, it's funny you say that. The white outfit that Callista Jade had on was that we had two of them, because we shot that part where she's like covered in blood. We shot that first, so then we did a clean outfit. So we had two, and so she would get back into the clean one afterwards. But the fake blood, I think, so Marilee Newing was our art director.
Yeah.
And, I think she said she got like a 1 liter like fake Halloween blood off online.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
We just used that, and I think so it was 1 liter. We didn't even use a porter. So
Oh, right. Okay.
go through a lot. Yeah,
You got a lot of blood left over.
heaps of blood left over. So,
Fantastic.
yeah, it would come in handy probably. But yeah, we did. So we covered Callista Jade twice. We had, and then we covered the shovel. So it's all over that. And I still I've got a pair of Converse that I had when we were filming. There's still fake blood all over them.
Yeah.
It really does get everywhere. Like So we have to be really careful. And when she got in the car, we had to make sure it was all dry, just because crew member's car, so they can be quite careful. But it was so much fun. Just seeing her come out in that sort of bloody mess, oh my goodness. It just was actually one of the moments where I was like, wow, this feels real now, because it's just right in front of me.
That's awesome. You see this girl walk out of the room covered in blood. Part of you must be like, what have we done?
Part of me was like, yes, absolutely.
Beautiful, perfect, love it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it really was.
Josh, how are you feeling on set right now?
I am stressed, but beyond stress is more accurate. Delusion is setting in, and it is only day 1. And how many hours are we here? Have we been here?
We got here at 11.
So 5 hours. Delusion has set in.
Okay.
And yeah.
Do you think you'll feel better after some food?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think I will see my family and go, oh my god, you're still around, you're still living, and I will be just so grateful to see them. Not that I hate these people, but but yeah, I think food and family is gonna be the end goal. So yeah, I can't believe I'm talking into this as well. I'm rubbing my hand through it. It's disgusting. It's got hair on it. But that's where we're at. I don't care anymore. So
what's on the menu for Din Dins?
hot dogs. And I think they're doing a bit of onion as well.
Okay.
And lots of condiments. You can put in on your sauces, put in anything you want.
Wow.
So, but they're luxury hot dogs, except we don't have hot dog rolls.
Oh,
it's just
buns.
snags and buns, yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's fine. All right.
And it will not be as good as a bunning snag. It just will not. There's no comparison.
At least you're self-aware.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am. And I strive to be. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
As well. So how did you find the cast and crew for the film?
Well, because it was a uni project, we were sort of teamed up in groups for the crew. So we sort of had our little team that we wanted to work with. And then for the cast, a few people I kind of reached out to and just sort of tried to like offer them the roles and to see if they were interested in doing it. And then some people we sort of, had a look online and were like, yeah, I think they'd be a good fit. So it was we didn't actually end up auditioning anyone. We it was mainly just handpicking, like sort of we knew the script. We were like, okay, who do we think is gonna best suit these roles? And it was a cool process because I had at that point never done any auditions, which for a third year in uni is quite odd. But it was I think it paid off because the performances were just exactly what we wanted, and I was so happy. Everyone did amazing. The whole cast is incredible. And they were great collaborators. Like they were just really getting into the content and just giving it their all. I was, very impressed.
What avenues did you find? Did you use to find them? Was it just searching through Facebook groups, or were there like acting agencies that you searched through? Like what kind of produced the best results for you? I suppose.
I think it was like a lot of like seeing like the three people we knew at uni and seeing sort of network through like on Instagram, on Facebook, things like that. And then like a few people like I saw at like other like screenings, and I sort of jotted the name down and thought, okay, I want to see if they're available. But other than that, it was mainly online and like people that we had worked with before. So Beth and Emma, we had done a project with them in second year, and so I sort of went straight to them and thought, oh, these guys would be great. I want to offer them first, see if they'd be interested. And then they were. So it was really awesome because then you have that familiarity and that comfortability on set. We worked with them before, which is risky, I think, to an extent, because it's like you've got to pick the right person for the role. But I think in this case, I knew it would fit them quite well, and it was within their capabilities, which I nailed it so well.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the most important things when looking for cast and crew as well, just finding people that you do feel comfortable with, because you're going to be hanging out with them for 8 hours a day for however many days, so you need to be able to get along.
Exactly, yeah. And that's another thing. It's risky if it's someone that you don't know much about, and it's like, you don't know if you're going to like butt heads or if you're going to make it work. But hey, more often than not, everyone gets along. It's a great, but I've heard some stories about the university sort of scene where there's people that to watch out for, but that's not very often that happens.
Cool. What was the budget for this film, and how was the money spent? So, what percentages went to which, departments and that kind of thing?
Oh, this has really got me thinking now. I think we ended up, so we just divided up amongst the crew, and I think from memory there was 8 of us enrolled at the university. So we had, I think it was about $270 each that we put up. It unfortunately just kept going higher and higher.
Of course.
As it does. But I think a quarter was probably spent on food and like catering and that. So we just me and the producer did a Costco run. We grabbed all the food in bulk. And because we were in Lansing for 3 or 4 days, so we knew we had to sort of cater like 3 meals a day for that long. So there was 12 of us, or 13 at one point. But there's a lot of people that had to cater for. And then half was probably spent on the accommodation. So we had to Airbnb the house that we were sort of,
okay, yes.
So we were all staying at the house. So that was most of the budget.
Okay.
And then there's like the fuel, like to drive. It wasn't close, it was an hour and a half away. And it's probably another quarter on like costuming. and
Okay.
like pop cinema.
Yeah.
So it was divided up pretty good, except the accommodation was not quite a lot.
Yeah.
As I said in pre-production, I found the house and I thought we have to commit and just do it at that location. If it was any other location, it wouldn't have had the same effect, because it's the look that I really wanted and that beach coastal vibe. You know, it needed it to land. So
Yeah.
very grateful that we got that cleared.
It must have. I'm just imagining the process of getting an Airbnb for this kind of thing. It's like, reason for your stay or something is murder.
I didn't have to disclose that we were filming. I didn't go to that extent, but I was like, we're making a short film. Hopefully, it's an authentic film there, and they were very, very accommodating, which is great. Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
I didn't go murder.
Yeah. Blood. No. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. And okay. So, how did the idea for Lily come about? And was there a specific inspiration behind the story?
There was. So I had a friend of mine, or a cousin basically. She came up to me. Oh my goodness, I want to say 3 years ago now, and she was just basically came running in and just went, "Josh, I've had this nightmare. I think you can turn it into a film." And I'm like, "Stop!" I get out my phone. I start recording. There is an 11-minute voice memo on my phone still, and it's just called Ella's Nightmare. And so I recorded her talking about her nightmare, and I'm like, yes, this has to be a film one day. And so then when at uni, the assignment came up and I wrote it, and I was like, okay, this is cool. And then it was the time where I was like, okay, you should probably make it. And so it was fascinating because Ella spoke about the nightmare and how it linked with her current life. So there were all these things happening in her life that sort of ingrained itself into the nightmare that I just found so fascinating. And the human subconscious is just so fascinating to me. And I was just hearing her talking about this, and I was linking it all in my head, going you can tell so much from someone, from their dreams and what they're thinking about in real life. It was incredible. So I spent ages with her just talking about how she envisioned it and what she saw. Mm-hmm. And once she saw the film, she was like, "That's exactly how I imagined it." So I was over the moon. I was like, I'm glad we produced that to the extent that it was actually in her head. So yeah, that's how it came about. Insane, crazy story. So if anyone has any dreams or nightmares, just come straight to me and I'll record it and I'll start writing. That's the thing. It's such an interesting topic, and it's do so much. There's a lot of films that do it well. It's hard to do well. It's just one of those things that just keeps you up all night.
Yeah, it is quite a fascinating concept. The idea of trying to replicate how dreams work in a film.
Yeah.
I think Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, that probably does it quite well. I love how they sort of tackle it. But yeah, it's an issue because everything in our head is just I don't know, blurry and mixed, and it's basically AI images or something, you know. And then turning that into a story.
I kept saying it's and one thing because you sort of take a step back and go, okay, how do dreams actually? How are we in dreams? And I sort of thought things just happen to us. We can't control them. We get dragged in all these directions. And I thought we don't transport to places. We are here in them. And we don't remember how we got there. We're there. And so all these little things that I was just making connections with and thinking, why? Why has this happened like this? It's freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really fascinating.
Have you had many dreams of your own in the past that you wake up in the morning and that's something. There's something there,
Yeah, I've had heaps, but then I struggle to remember them, so I have to write them down quite quickly. I had one the other day and I've already forgotten it, and it was just great. It felt almost real.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately you just got to grab them quick.
Yeah.
Before you.
Yeah, that's it.
But I've had loads, not as crazy as Lily, but like, you know, just some bulkish ones where like, and it's always something that's happening in my life that'll influence it.
Yeah.
And that's the part where it's just, that's where all the interest lies, I think. Like our subconscious mind is like projecting all these thoughts about what we're actually experiencing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The ones that mess with me the most are the ones that, like, every now and then, it hasn't been a while, but like I would have a dream where everything is pretty much exactly as it is in the real world, but there'll just be like tiny differences, you know? Yeah. Like one that I remember is like, you know, I was dreaming and yeah, everything was normal except I looked in the fridge and there's like 2 bottles of tomato sauce instead of 1, you know?
Yeah.
And then you kind of wake up the next day or maybe a few days later or something. It's like, wait, didn't we have 2 tomato sauces in the fridge?
Yeah, and it blurs into reality.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's I like how you said that. It's always the way where it feels real and there's one thing that's off.
Yeah.
And that was something we actually tried to bring to the table with Lily, is like in each scene, something's weird. Like whether it's a character and how they're acting, or it's like a part of the set that's sort of out of place. It's like something's wrong. You know, there's always just something in every sort of scene. And Ella spoke about that in talking about her nightmare. She was like, there's always something weird going on and something that wasn't meant to be there.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like, to think about it for days and not sleep.
Like I think everyone loved Ethan Powell's character
and
how he's just randomly slotted in at bizarre points, and you're like, what's going on with this guy?
Excited about this dog.
Yeah. I love that. That was fantastic. Yeah.
That just got, you know, added in each time. It was like real editing. It was just going, I think we need more, like, just to hear him. And like, I was, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like the way that you use audio sometimes were good. Like, there were points where we didn't even see him, but we just heard him, and we heard the dog or something. And yeah, I think the use of audio in the film was quite good.
Thank you. Yeah. I was very happy with what we did. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, cool. All right, where are we next? So, what was the timeline for a film like this? So, you know, how long did it take to write the film, plan the film edit, etc.?
Okay, well, I probably started writing for the unit that I did.
Yep.
So that was, I'm going to say, the start of 2023.
Yep.
Then I sort of left it for a bit, came back to it at the start of last year. And then we had 11 weeks to make it, from like rewriting the script, fine-tuning, pre-production, production, and post-production, all within 11 weeks. So it's quite a small sort of block of time. All done. But like, you know, for WMA, we kept editing throughout the last sort of 6 months after we wrapped production. And that helped a lot. So we got the chance to screen it at uni when the unit had finished, and then we sort of thought, okay, we'll take feedback and sort of make it better. And I think that helped, having that extra sort of 6 months ish to fine tune.
Yeah, cool.
That's where, you know, all these changes were made, and then it just sort of, every time you think of something new, it just keeps going better, and it just gives that little bit to like where it takes a whole new form. And it's like, it was for a uni project, it was quite a bigger time frame than most, because I'd written it like previously, and it was interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and I find that quite interesting with how films are done. Like, I feel like getting the film like 80% done is, you know, like that's pretty easy to do. You just, you know, you do like the normal amount of work, but then to make a film, you know, just that extra bit special, you know, getting that extra 20% requires pretty much the same amount of work, if not more, than that 80%
Absolutely.
did.
Yeah.
But it's like, you kind of need it though. Yeah,
and you need that time frame to get it done, because it's like, even though it's a small percentage, it needs to have the time to breathe and sort of workshop ideas and stuff.
Yeah,
I kept hearing
like
this quote, like that. Can't remember who said it. Like, that film is an editor's medium. But that's where it sort of happens, right? It's so true. Like, it really is. That's where the magic sort of lies.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that quote. I haven't heard that one before.
Oh,
So that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just every time I sort of think of it, it's like more and more true because it's that's how you shape the audience's experience, you know.
Okay, so what was your approach to lighting in the film? So did you face any particular challenges when lighting certain scenes?
Yeah, pretty much all the scenes.
All the scenes, yeah.
As the case is with student films, you don't think enough about lighting. So we went in, and like, you know, there's not normally in all these like roles that we are delegated. There's never, when we're on our small sets, there's never a lighting person.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's not, and like, it's just so vital to bring that vision and like, because you know the lighting is arguably the most important part of the image, and so we had Will, our editor, doing all the gaffering and sort of playing around with lighting because we hadn't thought enough about it, especially with, you know, we had spent so much time, the cinematographer and I, on camera and sort of figuring out how we wanted it to look, and we spent so much time doing that we sort of neglected the lighting. So that was huge when we got to set, and we're like, we have to be quick about workshopping the lighting. Luckily we had rented we borrowed from the uni like all this lighting equipment that we were able to, they had quite a selection, which was great, so we could sort of pick which ones we wanted. We had like the smaller man lights and then like the bigger softbox ones, so it was a great variety. But yeah, just all I can recommend is just spend most of your time prepping your lighting. It's huge, and yeah, I think had we have done that, like it would have looked a lot nicer. Not that it looks bad, but it just, you know, it amplifies it. You know, it just has that production value that you can sort of feel from the lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's so true. And yeah, like you said, it's something that people don't think about, especially when they're starting out. You know, it's like you kind of think you want to have a nice looking image, so you need like really great camera and really great whatever, and we're going to do this framing and all this stuff, but really that it all means nothing if it isn't lit well, you know? Like I've seen so many films in the past where someone, they used up their money and hired out the best of the best camera and everything, but then you look at the film and it's like, it's flat and it's dull, or it's like noisy or something, and yeah. Lighting is cinematography, you know, that's the main part of it. I think I heard someone recently say that cinematography is just painting with light, you know, that's the main thing. Yeah, and it's like if you have a terrible camera but you light it really well, then it'll look amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, it doesn't matter what you're shooting on, although it'll just look amazing.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fascinating like field to work in.
Her name's Lily. She's traumatized.
Title character. Woo!
And she's psycho.
We love you. Love you, Josh.
Were there any scenes that didn't go according to plan, and how did you work around these issues?
That's a great question. Yeah, there's one scene set at a beach, and you know, beaches are quite loud in terms of the waves, the winds, the birds, everything is just this cacophony of noise. So me and the sound recordist went down to the beach like very early in the morning of when we were supposed to go shoot at the beach. And we went down there, and she had the microphone and she was just like recording like sounds, and I was trying to sort of speak, and it was just so muffled that we had to think of a new game plan. We couldn't shoot at this beach. It just wouldn't work.
Oh, yeah.
We sort of went away, and then I sat down with the producer and we just sort of discussed about where else we could shoot it. And then we found this location on the side of the road where it was quite isolated. So we sort of found it as we were driving in like a few days before. We drove a bit further out and went there, and we thought, okay, if we shoot, it was like trickery. If we shoot one way and sort of frame the two sort of one way, and then when they cross camera, we cut to the other side and then around the beach. That was because there was a lot of dialogue happening. So we were like, if we could do that, it would sound better. And it was good. And then we were like, yeah, that could work. So we decided to do that. But then because that beach wouldn't have worked with the sound, we went to a different beach, and then even when you'd be quite close to the water, and you get the mics up, and just this wind and like the waves crashing, and just you couldn't make out what they were saying. So hence why like the shots are so like looking up, because we were actually about 10 meters from the beach, and we had to just for sound, and so we framed it up because like otherwise you'd see that we were ages away. So you had to like just work around all those little challenges. The weather was the biggest thing. So
I think
sound as well, right? So it's like you have to make accommodations for those things.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think that's one of my favorite things about film. Just the fact that like you like if you're trying to film a scene, it's like you don't really need to film in that space. It's like if you can just convince people that you are in that space. Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's all about the trickery and like
that's it.
Sort of how you frame and just work around all those obstacles to make it work, make them sort of believe.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think I've mentioned in other interviews in the past where like we've had scenes that are just like dialogue scenes, for example, but maybe we don't have all the actors there on the same day, and so there's a particular dialogue scene that we did in our feature where there's people talking, and that scene, very simple scene, was filmed like the shots were a year apart, and they were filmed in 3 different locations entirely.
Wow!
But it's like you put it together, even I forget that happened. You know. So
easy.
Trickery.
it's what it's all about, and it's like you have to just do what you have to do with all these constraints and challenges and make it work.
That's it. Yeah, I think like when I was a little kid, I always liked the idea of magic, and I feel like filmmaking is my way of doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a form of magic. I would say it's like such a it's like you're just playing all these tricks, but you're not intending on haha, we fooled you. It's like like we just believe it. And it's it's wonderful. We actually did heaps of like recording sound effects as well. So
cool.
Like we had, I did a few like bird noises. Which just, if we wanted it, we had it. So we did a few of them, and then like just other like sounds of nature and stuff. So I really wanted the sound to be quite like confronting. And just like you hear every little noise, and it's like whoa, like every breath, every like. I just reckon it would just add to that eerie like tone. I really did it. I'm not sure, but that was what I intended from the beginning. I was like, I want to hear. You know how like people move their mouth, you can hear that little like.
But like it's kind of sticking together a little bit.
I wanted to like hear every little thing. That was the goal we set out. There was heaps of like audio stuff we did, and like. One thing in the re-editing was the like the layering of all the dialogue that was the end of the film. And so like just all that stuff, and that wasn't in any of the first edits. But I was like, we need to have more of an intensity, more of like we're in the character's headspace and can like hear what she's like hearing. But audio is so much fun to just experiment with, and even as I was saying before, the dog. Like your distant dog sounds and like Ethan's growling. Like they've been there as much as they were, and it's just we needed that to again enhance that humour, that weirdness. It's just it all amplifies it. So
and audio is a powerful tool, especially when you don't have a budget. So like if it was like a huge film with however much money, it's like sure you could like have a dog going through the scenes and everything, but dogs can be notoriously hard to work with. So if you just have the sound of a dog, it's perfectly fine,
right? It's the
like we know that there's a dog out there somewhere. We don't need to see it. We know it's there.
Exactly. Yeah, you can just infer with those sort of context clues.
Yeah, like as long as people are hearing stuff that's going on, you don't actually need to show it, and they'll just imagine that it's there.
Last morning of filming, how are you feeling?
I'm actually feeling really excited. Ready for the day. Can't wait. It's gonna be good.
What is our current time right now? What time in the morning is it?
I think it's like 7:10 or 7:30.
Oh my god.
Between that.
Yeah.
And we're aiming to film by 7, but we're not.
Oh.
What's one thing that you learned making this film that you wish you knew beforehand? Joshua, before this film was made, what advice would you give him?
Okay, well, I would definitely tell him to trust himself and believe in himself and his vision, because there was definitely moments where this shy little being on set, and I was like, you just have to like trust your instincts and like believe that you can do it, that it's worth doing, because it's you get so in your own head, and it's so consuming that like that's definitely, I would say, trust yourself, believe that you can do it, because it's possible. And there was so much like working with the actors and the crew, and that collaboration was so like, I learnt heaps just by watching everyone else do their thing and like getting to know them, and just it's a real human experience that you sort of did. You're in this together, and like things don't go perfectly, so you're all there for each other, you're all supportive, and so and like we're all learning. That's the thing. So it's great to know that everything doesn't have to be perfect. Like we can make mistakes, we can pick up the pieces, it's fine. But I'm going to learn in an environment, it's a safe environment. And take risks. That's the biggest thing, is take risks. And I think that's one thing that was in the feedback of this film at uni. It was just, the marker was just like, keep taking risks, keep like experimenting with the form of film and storytelling.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and I think it's a valuable thing for a lot of filmmakers to remember that, well, I mean, my opinion at least is that when it comes to film, is like there aren't any actual rules. No. You know, there's like story structures and all these things, but it's like you don't need to do. It's a guideline more than a rule. You know, it's like we look at all these big blockbuster movies and everything, and like the stories are a mess. You know.
Yeah.
And they're filmed with billions of dollars or whatever it might be. Yeah. But the story still makes no sense.
Yeah.
So it's like we just need to write something, film it, and just like see how it goes.
Exactly. And especially because that whole structure thing, it's so like reused and recycled. I feel like there's a need for something new, like to just keep it moving, keep it interesting. So
yeah, that's it.
It's the same thing, recycling over and over again. And obviously, it works. Like it makes money, but at the end of the day, we want to be making art, and that's why we're here. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, because it's like like structures, and they can help and everything. But I always find that like a lot of my favorite moments in films and everything are those things that that definitely aren't in the structure. Like there's those moments in a film that they do not serve the story, they do not have a real purpose. They're just there for like no reason at all. It's just characters hanging out or something like that. I love those moments. Those are fantastic. They make the world just seem more real.
And you're learning about the characters and like who they are. So I would argue they do have a purpose, but it's just not a purpose in regards to the grand scheme of things. First development sort of things that's the best parts of the like films are just those getting to understand the human behind the character, and like why they do what they do. So
what's next for Lily? So are you planning on submitting it to more festivals, or expanding the story in any way? So what does the future look like for Lily?
We're definitely looking at more festivals to like try and get it out there. Like it was great to have it in WA first, but I'm thinking I want to try like more international, like student orientated, like short film festivals. So see where that can take us. And that's the goal. Like I want to like release it eventually, but I think we'll just hold off for a bit to just see where the festival circuit takes us. In terms of his story, I think I'm happy where it is. Like it was meant to be that sort of one and done kind of story. But I think I'm taking the themes, and like there's a lot of ideas sort of like in the works, and because that's the thing. There's so much that is unsaid in that film that I just really want to keep looking at.
Yeah,
it's very interesting to me. So
you want to keep saying it just in case people missed it,
So people thinking and keep them on their toes, and like keep them investigating stuff. But it's definitely, we'll keep pushing it, keep showcasing it where we can, keep it moving.
It might be the same answer that you gave for the talking to past Joshua, but I'll ask it just in case. What advice would you give to filmmakers who are trying to make their first short film?
First short film?
Yeah.
Ooh. I would say, take a risk and just make it. Like, use what you've got at your disposal. Like, find like-minded people, whether that be friends or like just people that you know, just sort of get people on board, share your vision, and just sort of collaborate. Like, be open to like collaboration and like the idea sort of building on itself with that collaboration. So don't restrict yourself. Like, take the risk and be like, let yourself be creative. I would say, like, a lot of the time, like, I was very, you know, very immature and young, and I would get so like in my own head of like, it has to be this, it has to be this. But like, at the end of the day, it's about so much more. I like it, that collaboration with others, and it makes it better. I think, with, you know, so being open to that, sort of, you know, working with others, like taking things and just building it, is just that's where it becomes strong. So yeah, that's the advice I'd give. Whether it's useful, I don't know. But
No, it's fantastic. Yeah, and I think that's good. It's like it's important to know that, like, you don't need to have all of the answers.
Yes.
Like, yeah, the collaboration is like the best part of it. You know, like you are just one person worth of life experiences, and you're trying to somehow embed that in like all of these different characters. It's like they need different perspectives.
Exactly. To
you know,
make them like flawed and convoluted. That's how we all are. Like,
yeah, that's it.
You're right. It can't all just come from one person. It's got to be all these different sort of points of view that like ingrain themselves into the characters.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so it's like when you're like, I don't know, writing a character, you know, it's important to, of course, know the important parts so that the story makes sense, but also just intentionally leaving some blank spaces so that the actor can fill it in themselves.
Yes, because that's where all the magic happens, where the actor does the homework and can sort of figure out who this character is, and that often they think more in depth about it than we do, and that's where it's like, that's where we are forever grateful that they sort of come to the party and commit that much in developing that, but it's thinking that hard about it.
Yeah, that's it. And then they'll naturally embed some of themselves into it, and they'll have ownership over the role, and it'll just be such a better character otherwise.
It's amazing to watch that unfold.
Do you have any upcoming projects that you're working on, and where can people find you or follow your work?
Oh, well, upcoming projects. I'm writing a few things at the moment, so there's a lot happening. But as I said, you know, just trying to get through uni, got one more semester. Once I'm out, I'm going to be just trying to make stuff as like to the best I can. I'm writing a few things at the moment, so I've got my head in all these different baskets, but I've got to try and just do one at a time. So but yeah, there's a lot happening. There's all these ideas floating around, and I guess it's a great time, you know, to be here in WA and sort of making stuff. But yeah, where can people find me? Like, you know, Instagram's a great start, you know, place to look. I'm on there. I've got a YouTube channel. That's where all my old stuff is. All the original, you know, old stuff is on there. So, you know, there's a lot of you know, lot to be watched on that. But,
is the YouTube just like Joshua Webb?
Yes. Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
It normally, like, you have to search up Joshua Webb films and it comes up. Okay. Yeah. But it is just Joshua Webb, and Instagram's the same. But yeah, other than that, I haven't got a Vimeo, but that's sort of, it's there just for like a portfolio kind of thing. But that's still there as well. So yeah, there's a lot of online presence to be seen, which, you know.
And a little bonus question to sort of add on to the end of that.
Yes.
I guess, you know, and you know, if you have an answer or not, either way. But what is your like 10-year goal? 10 years from now, where do you see yourself? You know, are you like making features? Are you making series? Is it all horror? You know.
Ooh, interesting. Well, do you know what's funny? Horror is not my form, really.
Okay.
I'm really like in the like coming of age sort of genre, and like those indie, you know, sort of things. But I don't know. I'm open to anything. Like, I'm thinking, you know, the next 10 years, the goal is to definitely be working, making stuff. But you know, as they say, to get into the industry, you just have to be open to starting anywhere. And I am, so I'm happy to just do these assisting jobs on any project at all, but just to gain experience in the industry and just get this understanding of how things are done and how everything operates.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would love to be making features in 10 years, but who knows? Like, who knows what the future holds? There's a lot of ideas, as I said, a lot going on in here with regards to the story and like my own personal story. There's a lot to be told, but yeah, there's a time, and I think waiting for the right time is going to be crucial. But yeah, 10 years. But who knows what have we done by that time? Far out.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of like fear in your eyes. It's like 10 years. Oh my goodness. I got to start thinking about that now.
What about you? Do you have plans for the next 10 years?
Roughly, yeah. I mean, so we've got goals, but then of course we know that we'll probably adapt along the way towards those goals, and those goals might change, that kind of thing. So, I think, yeah, we've got, roughly 5 years, 10-year goals, certain projects that we would love to work on, and then, so therefore, like, all the things that we can do until then can help practice each of the different elements that are required, if that makes sense.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, I best be writing my 5 and 10-year goals down just to solidify them and make sure I sort of am sticking to them.
Yeah, it just kind of helps to, like, make sure the ship is going in the right direction sometimes.
Yeah.
But, the wind might push you somewhere else, but you still know where you're heading,
Yeah.
So.
That's so true. No, I definitely will have to do that. Because I'm just at the moment, because I've been at uni for all this time, it's just here. You're just trying to get to the other side, and then that's when all the fear sort of kicks in. It's like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So that is just go out, make stuff, network.
Yeah.
The more people the more opportunities come up, and yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad that we were able to cover just everything and just really dig deep into your film. So that was fantastic.
I'm so glad.
Thanks for joining me, and I'll put links to all of your socials and everything when we when we put the video out. For anyone watching, make sure that you follow Josh, because I'm sure he's got lots of things that are going to be happening in the future, all the way up until that 10-year mark. Once again, thanks Josh, and we'll see you around.
Thank you.